Pinewood Acres. The job at Pinewood Acres seemed simple enough, an old grand nursing home nestled in the woods. Peaceful, quiet, the perfect place to escape the city noise. I was wrong, dead wrong. Pinewood Acres held a darkness I could never have imagined. From my first day, the air hung heavy, thick with a silence that wasn't peaceful, but expectant. The residents, though frail, carried a weight in their eyes, a shared terror they dared not speak, except for room 733, that room whispered. At first, I dismissed it. Old buildings creak and groan, but the sounds from room 733 were different. Whispers, faint yet insistent. They snaked through the halls at night, slithering under doors, seeping into your very bones.
The residents, those who could still recall their names and histories, refused to go near it. Their eyes would dart nervously towards the door, their hands trembling as they clutched their walkers.
They all knew what lurked within.
The dream started subtly. Fleeting images, dark and disturbing, faces twisted in silent screams, hands skeletal and grasping, reaching for me from the shadows. Then the whispers invaded my sleep. My dreams became nightmares, vivid, suffocating. I would wake up in a cold sweat, the whispers echoing in my ears, the stench of decay clinging to my skin. The line between dreams and reality blurred. Room 733 was seeping into my life, poisoning my thoughts, my very essence. The first death occurred at 3:33 a.m. Mrs. Hathaway, a sweet old woman who always offered me butterscotch candies. She was the kind of neighbor everyone wished they had, always smiling, always ready with a kind word or a small treat. Her house was a sanctuary of warmth and comfort, filled with the aroma of freshly baked cookies and the soft hum of an old radio playing tunes from a bygone era. But that night, everything changed. Her face, usually etched with kindness, was frozen in a rictus of terror, her eyes wide with an unspeakable horror. It was as if she had seen something so dreadful, so unimaginable, that it had stopped her heart in an instant. The butterscotch candies she loved to offer were scattered on the floor, a silent testament to the suddenness of her demise. The room, once a haven of peace, now felt cold and unwelcoming, shadows dancing menacingly on the walls.
Then came Mr. Henderson, his heart giving out in his sleep. His face, too, mirrored the same fear, the same unspeakable dread. Mr. Henderson was a retired schoolteacher, a man of routine and discipline. He lived alone, his days filled with reading and gardening. But that night, his peaceful existence was shattered. The heart monitor beside his bed flatlined, its monotonous beep a grim reminder of his sudden departure. His room, filled with books and memories, now felt like a tomb. Again, the clock on the wall mocked us with its unwavering gaze. 3:33 a.m. It was as if time itself had conspired against us, choosing that exact moment to strike. The clock's hands, frozen in place, seemed to taunt us, a silent witness to the horrors unfolding. The shadows cast by the clock's face seemed to stretch and twist, creating eerie shapes that danced on the walls, adding to the growing sense of unease.
The whispers, once faint, grew stronger, more insistent. They were feeding. It was as if the very air was alive with their presence, a constant murmur that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. The whispers spoke of things long forgotten, secrets buried deep within the fabric of time. They seemed to revel in the fear they were causing, growing louder and more persistent with each passing moment. The room felt oppressive, the air thick with an unseen menace. It was clear that whatever was happening, it was far from over. The whispers were just the beginning. Leaving Pinewood Acres crossed my mind, of course, running as far away from this cursed place as possible. But something held me back. An unseen force, a morbid curiosity, a macabre fascination with room 733.
Maybe it was the whispers. They seemed to call to me, drawing me closer to the room, to the heart of the darkness. My name, uttered in hushed tones, beckoning me forward. It was a siren's call, tempting me towards my doom.
The whispers grew more distinct, no longer just a murmur, but clear, individual voices. They whispered my name over and over again, a chilling chorus of the damned. It started as a faint hum, barely noticeable, like the rustling of leaves in a distant forest, but as days turned into nights, the whispers grew louder, more insistent. They seemed to come from the very walls of my room, seeping through the cracks and crevices, filling the air with an eerie resonance. I couldn't escape it, not in the waking world, not in the fleeting respite of sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, the voices would invade my dreams, turning them into nightmares. I would wake up drenched in sweat, my heart pounding, the whispers still echoing in my ears. It was as if they were a part of me, a dark shadow that I couldn't shake off. The more I tried to ignore them, the louder they became until they were all I could hear.
My name, over and over again, a chilling chorus of the damned. It was maddening, a relentless assault on my sanity. I started to question my own mind, wondering if I was losing my grip on reality. But deep down, I knew that the whispers were real. They were calling to me, drawing me towards something unknown, something terrifying. I felt a strange compulsion to follow them, to uncover the source of the voices that haunted me day and night. Curiosity morphed into an obsession. I found myself drawn to room 733, standing outside its door, listening to the whispers, the voices calling to me, beckoning me. It was an old abandoned room at the end of a long, dark hallway. The door was always locked, but I could hear the whispers clearly whenever I stood outside it. They seemed to be coming from within, urging me to open the door, to step inside and discover the secrets hidden within its walls. One night, I couldn't resist the lure any longer. The clock on the wall ticked past midnight, each second drawing me closer to my fate. I felt a strange sense of anticipation, a mix of fear and excitement, as I approached the door of room 733. My hand trembled as I reached for the doorknob, the whispers growing louder with each passing moment. I knew that once I opened that door, there would be no turning back. The voices had led me to this moment, and I was powerless to resist their call. As the door creaked open, I took a deep breath and stepped into the darkness, ready to face whatever awaited me on the other side.
3:32 a.m. The hour when the veil between our world and the unknown is at its thinnest. The time when shadows come alive and the whispers of the damned echo through the corridors of the old abandoned hotel.
My hand trembled as I reached for the doorknob of room 733. The whispers reached a fever pitch, urging me on, welcoming me into their embrace. Each step I took felt like a step closer to the edge of sanity, the whispers growing louder, more insistent, as if they were alive, breathing down my neck.
The air grew cold and a stench of decay assaulted my senses. It was as if the room itself was rotting from within, the walls weeping with the sorrow of countless lost souls. The darkness was not just an absence of light, but a presence, a living, breathing entity that seemed to wrap itself around me, squeezing the breath from my lungs.
3:33 a.m. I pushed open the door. Darkness consumed me, thick and suffocating. It was a darkness that seemed to have weight, pressing down on me, making it hard to move, hard to think. I could feel the eyes of the damned upon me, watching, waiting. Then I felt them, hands, cold and skeletal, clutching at my arms, my legs, my throat. They were not just hands, but the remnants of those who had been trapped in this place, their souls forever bound to the darkness. Each touch was a plea for release, a desperate grasp for freedom. Their grip was vice-like, pulling me into the abyss, into the heart of the whispers. The more I struggled, the tighter their hold became, as if they were feeding off my fear, drawing strength from my terror. The whispers grew louder, more frantic, a cacophony of voices all crying out at once.
In that moment, I realized that the whispers were not just voices, but the echoes of the damned. Each one a soul trapped in eternal torment. They were calling out to me, begging for release, for someone to end their suffering. But as the darkness closed in, I knew that I was not their savior. I was just another lost soul, another voice to join the chorus of the damned.
I struggled against their grasp, but it was futile. Their grip tightened, their icy fingers digging into my flesh. The whispers swirled around me, a cacophony of voices celebrating my demise. I was theirs now. Another soul claimed by the darkness of room 733.
Terror choked me. I wanted to scream, to beg for mercy, but no sound escaped my lips. I was paralyzed, helpless in the face of this ancient evil. The whispers grew louder, consuming my thoughts, my fears, my very being. They say I escaped that night, that I was found outside room 733, babbling incoherently, my skin deathly pale, my eyes filled with a terror that chilled the nurses to the bone. But I know the truth.
Room 733 doesn't let go that easily.
The whispers followed me home, seeping into every facet of my life. They torment me in the darkness, reminding me of the horrors I witnessed, the horrors that await us all. Heed my warning. If you ever find yourself at Pinewood Acres, avoid room 733 at all costs. Do not listen to the whispers. Do not give in to their seductive call. Turn away while you still can. For the whispers are patient. They are always listening, waiting for the moment your guard is down, the moment you let your curiosity get the better of you, and when they find you, they will never let go. Nowhere is safe.